Just gone 11 o'clock in the morning here in Les Sables d'Olonne, and it's about 1000 UTC, so just a simple tracker update on our last two sailings. Things have certainly changed. I remember when there were 17 boats out there and we'd be spending quite some time going over the whole lot, but now we've just got two. And nonetheless, it's still quite interesting, because if we look this morning at Tapio, he's actually going the wrong way. He's doing 0.8 of a knot, so he's not going anywhere fast. It looks as if on here he's actually got more wind than he probably has. And I was thinking, oh, what's going on if we actually, so it looks as if he should be sailing a lot better than that. So if we just increase the size of it here and get right up to have a good look at his track, he's definitely turned around. He's been sailing that course for some time. So so what I'm imagining now is there's probably, well, there's a little bit of breeze there. Remembering that 8.8 of a knot is the average speed over 4 hours, and that last position was at 800 hours UTC this morning, so 2 hours ago. And it could have filled in a little bit since then. So you can see he's definitely going the wrong way. I'm not too worried about it. Every now and then when this happens, I'll end up getting quite a few emails from people a bit concerned. Is he okay? Is he okay? Because here's the other issue. First of all, if we hit the day, look at that. It's still nighttime. The sun hasn't come up yet. So once again, he might be sleeping on deck, or he might be sleeping down below. And this is the sunlight. This is dawn here coming towards him, but nothing's happened yet. And if we look at the temperature, we go to temperature now. I get rid of the night time. These are 30-degree temperatures. That's outside, average temperatures. So it's starting to get really warm, hard to sleep, all that stuff. And when you're drifting around, I know when I went through here, trying to keep the boat moving is really the worst sort of situation. It's worse than the Southern Ocean because you've got no wind. And if we look at the swell, even if we come to waves, this is about a 2-metre swell, so the boat's lolling around, the sails are flapping, all that sort of stuff, and it's really not much fun. So I'm not worried. He's realises headwind's not going too far, but I'm still surprised he's going the wrong way. And hopefully you'll wake up soon and turn around and get it cranked up, and away you go. But if we look now at the forecast as it goes forward, I'll just animate it every 3 hours. You can see it's still headwinds, basically, still all coming down. I'll just focus that in case it's pumping. Headwinds or light winds, there's nothing happening at all. There's a full day. So there's big areas of light winds. In fact, I'll take it back one size. You can see this whole patch here all ahead of him. It's completely hopeless. And if I keep clicking this through, that's coming towards the end of the 17th, so there's 2 days. We're now into 3 days. Same again, no wind, just light headwinds. And I'll just try this a different way so you get a bit of a better look. Oh, too far. There we go. So nothing at all. Nothing at all there. I like to keep it going. I've got to click there. So yeah, he's going to be stuck once again. So there's the 18th. Big hole. By then he would have come up here somewhere. There's still nowhere to go. That's the 19th. Certainly no trade winds, because remember, this is where Antoine was in Rio de Janeiro, and it's where Jean-Luc came into the coast, and there was massive wind gradients everywhere. So right through to the 20th. When the wind finally does start to fill in with a little bit more consistency, it's all headwinds, because the trades just didn't eventuate. There's just nothing there. Here's the doldrums up here. There's a little bit of wind coming across the side there. So that's on the 20th. That's 4 days ahead. So poor old Tapio is definitely going to be a bit slow. This is Suhaili's position 3 days ago. So Suhaili's still running the race of his life and leaving Tapio behind. It's Sir Robin's birthday on Sunday, of course, the big 8-0. Quite incredible to think about it. Anyway, not much to say about Tapio's situation. Not looking good for an early arrival in Les Sables d'Olonne. So anyway, we'll come up to see the next arrival into Les Sables d'Olonne, and we've just sent Tapio a bit of a weather alert. Oh, that's probably too big. Here we go. So here's the finish over there. I'll just focus on that. And at the moment, you can see Istvan's wind's picking up, four knots. He had a few dramas in the last few days. Something happened to his wind pilot. It broke. Wasn't working. He was hand steering for a while, but he's managed to replace it now with his spare wind pilot that he carried on board. The boats with pilots were given a spare backup in case something happened, and that's lucky for Istvan. So he's making 4 knots, but I'd say now that the wind is picking up, possibly even higher than what we've got here. We're expecting, I've told him to expect gusts well over 45 knots later on. It's going to move pretty quickly. This is the southwesterly preceding this northwesterly front. So, and there's some big winds up here, but it's just missed him. So that's kind of good. The sea state is building up. If we go to waves, okay, so he's just on the edge. The seas are just starting to build now through 5s and 6s, and it should dissipate pretty quickly overnight, because what'll happen is we'll step this through and you'll see what's going to go on here. That's 3 hours. There's another 3 hours, so there's 6 hours. In about 6 hours time, it's going to swing through as a front, and it'll come in from the northwest, and at that stage it's all starting to die off. So we're not expecting too much of a drama for Istvan. It's certainly going to be tough times again for him, but then it's starting to back off completely. And the good news then is that by the time this happens, once it swings to the northwest, Istvan will alter course, and he'll be coming more along the line towards Les Sables d'Olonne, and he'll be somewhere over here then. And that breeze, that northwesterly slant, if we keep pushing it through, I'll get rid of this, get rid of that, pretty much rides him all the way through to the finish. So, oh, we're not clicking, sorry, got to hit that. Okay, so yeah, so you can see he's got this northwesterly, nice sailing breezes, pretty consistent. The center of the high is starting to stall a bit behind him, so I'm not worried about too much. It starts to go a bit light, but it's a good direction then. It's on the beam, the seas will be okay. So he should be making reasonable time. So I readjusted, that's on the 18th, then on the 19th, it's starting to get a bit light and go light headwinds. So at that stage, in fact right now, he's only... from the finish, he's 450 miles from the finish. Okay, so by the time we get up to this time frame, you know, by the early on the 19th, he's getting very close. In fact, I worked out he'd only be less than 100 miles away. But if we blow this up, you'll see, whilst there's a bit of breeze there, it's starting to come around from the front of the boat. That's windward work. It's light windward work, which is better than heavy weather on the nose, because the sea can really knock you around a bit. The waves projected for that time, okay, 2 meters. So it's going to be a tough time for him, but not impossible. So he could do pretty well to windward. The sailing side of the boat is working really well. Wind pilot will handle that, no problem. You know, going to windward, that's always good. So there's a possibility, you know, we're now saying he's going to arrive sometime in the morning on the 20th. That's where I think it'll be, but we won't really know, because if we progress this forward, you'll see that's early morning on the 19th. By then he's back here somewhere working to windward. You can see these big patches of either no wind or swinging around a little bit more to the northwest, which is making him sail a bit better. But when you're trying to do a forecast on the weather, you know, even though it's only 4 days ahead, when there's virtually no wind, you can see up there's virtually no wind, it makes it extremely challenging to try and work out what you're actually going to get. Because here, in the morning on the 20th, it's right on the nose. Okay, so that means it's, you know, that you can either be doing sort of 3 knots the wrong way or 3 knots the right way for boat speed. So very hard to predict Istvan's ETA, but just to be sure, we're now saying the 20th. It could extend to the 21st, or if he was really lucky and did pretty well, it could even be late on the 19th. So watch this space, but the official ETA for now is the 20th. He's going to have a rough, this is his last heavy weather, you might say, and that's going to be, that'll all be over in the next 12, 18 hours, but he'd be working pretty hard now. He knows what to do. He's done it all before. He swapped over his wind pilot, so that's all cool. And he must be dreaming about Les Sables d'Olonne right now. I know his wife Eva is on a plane at the moment, headed this way, some of his supporters and everything, so we're looking forward to seeing him, and we'll hope he gets through this last lot of heavy weather with ease and has a bit of fun too, because it's his last one. I didn't tell him that, but he probably figures it. that's about it. So we'll see you later on today for a live question and answer and update on everyone, including Gregor's salvage operation. See you then. Thanks.